Welcome to 1188 Outside the Box, where unconventional wisdom reigns and conversations know no bounds, inspiring curiosity and self reflection on a journey of personal growth in an authentic space to think freely outside the box. I am your host, T. Liz, and this episode's guest is lifestyle realtor Oni Donchima. Join us as we discuss growth and returning to self. Experience the real conversation of intentional living, self-awareness, and what it really means to dare to be good to yourself. And let's jump right in. Hey, Oni.
Hi,
Welcome to 1188 Outside the Box. Thanks for coming on.
you're so welcome. I'm happy to be here, and I'm proud of you for launching 1188.
Thank you so much. It's been a complete pleasure. It's been a joy. It's been a gift, actually.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I can tell.
Yeah. I've been obedient to it. That was the thing. Had the idea to do it. It took me a year to actually do it, and so much joy has come from it. I've learned so much. I've gotten to know people deeper meaning of things, life, everything. So personally, it's been wonderful.
That's awesome. I find that happens when we are truly walking in our purpose.
Absolutely. And one great thing that I've been going back to is that all great things are on the other side of obedience. When you are obedient to the call, then so much great things happen from it, and it's just beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to tell us a little about yourself, or would you like for it to come out during our discussion?
It can come out during our discussion because
Okay.
that's kind of like, sometimes I feel like we're defined by all of these titles and things that we do, but they're just a part of my whole experience.
Right.
So, yeah, I don't mind that they come out as we do things.
That is a very common answer. Because I think one person said I can write a whole 10-page bio. Like, what part of me do you want to know, right?
Right.
So I totally get it.
But before we start,
Yes.
I would like to gift you with something that I have launched most recently. And this is for you. I have launched, which we'll get to know, a body butter. One of the things I am is a clean beauty advocate, and we'll discuss more about that. But, I'm really into clean ingredients, clean living, clean beauty, intentional living. And my tag is for those that dare to be good to themselves.
All right.
Because a lot of times we're not. We don't even know it. But
Right.
anywho.
And guys, her skin is flawless. So,
well, thank you. I do work on it. Girl, it's not, it's just like, you have tools, but you have to use them.
Yeah, you do.
So I'm very intentional about that.
Doing
it.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I think because of modeling, I didn't realize that was what was being instilled in me, but it was like, because you have to, it was it's my brand. It's
Right.
part of my business. It's how I make my money. And there's a whole story behind that. I was just talking to my mom about that because, dark skin is celebrated now, but I was dark skinned before it was
You
in.
was dark skin your whole life. Yes. I was just
saying?
having this discussion the other day. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like, and my mom is fairer than I am. She's light skinned. Well, we went to Nigeria one time when I was little, and that African sun hit her, and she never turned back. She never turned back.
Never.
Never. Girl, that sun got her good. Do you hear me?
That is hilarious.
I swear to you, but she's fair. And so I remember as a little girl saying, like, Mommy, when am I going to turn your complexion? And she was like, oh, you're not going to turn my complexion, and you don't need to. Right. And I think that's a very, like, pinnacle point where I remember her starting to say, my little chocolate drop, my beautiful brown skin girl, my beautiful chocolate girl. Like and it almost annoyed me a little bit because I'm like, why is it that when you're brown skin, you have to be a pretty dark skinned girl,
right,
as opposed to just a pretty girl. And so funny enough, really just recently realized that she had to do that because to affirm
plant seeds.
Because outside, people were saying all sorts of things about my complexion,
right.
So now that it's celebrated, I'm like, why not monetize?
Right.
I'm Nigerian, girl.
Yeah.
Let me make some money. I'm Igbo.
Right.
I'm an Igbo. My mother's from Mississippi, and my daddy was Nigerian, girl. Igbo tribe. We know how to like hustle and make some money. So, anywho.
I was having this discussion the other day where just now recently where dark skin has become beautiful, where it's always been beautiful. But that was mainstream, that was society, that was America, really, because they were the fishbowl where everybody looks to get their information. And that is where, to me, it started here to make it seem like the darker you are, the fairer you are, the more beautiful you are.
Yeah. And interestingly enough, I didn't realize it growing up what it was, but just dealing with colorism, that was a real thing because, I went to predominantly white schools and, you know, I wasn't black enough for black kids and I wasn't, but I was not so black for white kids. And I always sort of felt out of place in a sense. But where I landed and felt at home was being Nigerian. So when I say I locked in, because I was celebrated. It wasn't about my complexion. It was just like this, beautiful, smart girl.
Yeah,
That's
it was
it.
about you.
It was about me. And even when I go there now, my cousin and I were there like together 2 years ago. I've been a few times recently, but we were like, it feels different. You feel like a human being.
And just that.
In just that. Although there is, because I'm in the beauty sector, I am very much aware of colorism there too. But I mean, I'll get that from Nigerians. Like I'll see somebody beautiful and they'll look at me and be like, "Oh, you're so beautiful." And I'm like, "Oh, thank you." Like, thank you. Like, yeah, so and we're just like complimenting each other like that. But there are a lot of products out there that women use that are, skin lighteners because they feel like fair is better.
Yeah.
And it's
amazing. But it also kills your organs. Because this is the largest organ and you're putting stuff on
yes.
this organ, which seeps on the inside. So I know from being Jamaican, right? There's a rampant in Jamaica where you will see someone that was dark skinned a year ago, like, oh my God. And it's not just a face. They go to the extremes and making sure it's everywhere that is visible. But it makes them very sensitive to the sun.
It does. No, I'm laughing because my cousin, he's a comedian. He was like, those knuckles give you away though.
The knuckles and right around the nail.
It's dark. It stays dark. I don't know why, but if you do it, you focus on the knuckles too. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Get it all.
Right.
Get it all. But yeah. So anyway, just my beauty journey has been an interesting one. I'm just saying.
Get it all.
Get it all.
Yes, your beauty journey.
But yeah, my beauty journey has been an interesting one, like I said, growing up in school, but modeling and, dealing with all of the things I had to deal with modeling, like, oh, you're the, well, do we need a black girl? You know what I mean? Kind of thing. Or we already have one. There could be more than one. And Max was 3, but the 3 were different shades. You had the all-American looking girl, like your Tyra, or like, say, if you go back a little further, like Beverly Johnson, right? Or you had your Iman, who was the more exotic and like a Naomi, right? Or you had like your mixed looking girls. You know what I mean? So if they were booking 3, that was it.
Totally different looks.
You know what I'm saying?
How was that? What made you want to model and how did you get into the modeling industry?
So I believe that just like you're doing 1188, right? You said that like it was a calling and you felt like it was something you were supposed to do. For me, I remember very specifically at 6 years old, I had on a light blue dress and I twirled in the mirror and I said, "Ooh, I can model this." And my dad, Nigerian, he said, "Onyeka, stop saying that. Why are you? Don't say that again. Like you're not modeling."
What are you talking about?
And so, but it's funny because immediately he said that, I was like, "Well, what did I do wrong?" And it was bubbling up in me because I always, like, from then on, I was like, I'm going to model.
You was the model.
Period. But I could not focus on that. My parents would let me do little things like, I produced a whole fashion show for my high school with 500 people, like got the stores, involved, got the makeup artists. I didn't know I was producing, but that's what I was doing. The ticket sales, I was over everything. I was, and I loved it. And then in college, I was part of the Black Student Union at University of Michigan. Go Blue, Wolverines, anybody listening out there. And, and so I was in the fashion shows and all of that. And I remember begging my dad. It was such a scam. I think it was one of these companies. I won't say their name so that I won't get in trouble, get sued. But it was one of these companies that takes people's money. And I wanted to be on the cover, but you had to pay. So my dad, I begged my dad, it was $5,000 to be on the back cover. And I was on the back cover. He let me do it.
That's wonderful.
And girl, it was a whole scam.
What you mean?
It was just like, they aren't really hiring real models. it's a
getting people's money to be on there.
Yes, and that was it. So from then on, he was like, "No, I'm not playing with you.
This is it.
Yeah, that's it. You got your one shot."
Wow.
So funny enough, and I think that had to be in high school because after college, it was like my senior year, and graduation was in April. And I remember Naomi Campbell was on the Essence cover in like maybe February or March of that year. And when I saw her, I said, "That's what I'm doing." Period.
What was your major?
Oh, my major was African American and African history.
Okay.
Which, you know, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do, but that's a whole nother thing because we weren't learning about anything about ourselves in school. And I started taking classes, and I was so intrigued by history in the diaspora that I was like, I'm majoring in this because when else am I going to learn about it or whatever? So anyway, I called my mom. I didn't call my dad. I called my mom.
You said that's it. I was funny at one time.
That's it. But I called my mom, and I was like, I am finished, and I am going to Paris when I'm done, and I'm modeling. I'm just giving you all a heads up. I like really, you know, tightened up my bra strap and said, "That's grown, that was grown." And she was like, "Huh? Like, so what you gonna do?" And I said, "I'm gonna save I'm gonna come home. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna save some money. I don't need anything from you all, and I'm gonna save my money and go over there." Well, lo and behold, I went. I did go home. I worked for a little bit, and all my friends were getting these corporate jobs, but I bet on myself.
Come on now.
You know what I mean? This was before any started life in any bruises, any chips in the armor. I was like, this is what I'm doing. I don't care if I have $500. I'm going over there.
Right.
And so I worked at the Swiss Hotel as a server in their cocktail bar. I had never made a drink before. I wasn't a drinker or anything. And the bartender would make the drinks and I would serve them. And at the bar, a gentleman was sitting there and he was like, "What else do? You do something else. This is not your only thing." I said, "Yeah, I'm a model. I don't have an agent yet." I said, "But I'm moving to New York."
Where were you?
I was in Chicago.
Okay.
And I was like, "I'm going to move to New York." And I ended up planning to move. It was going to be right after my birthday, which was right after Memorial weekend. And he said, don't do that just yet. He said, "I have a friend that is an agent at an agency here. And he's out of town, but he's coming back." And I said, "Okay, I mean, I'll meet him, but I mean, I'm going to New York."
Right, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. And so it was like May 22nd, right before my birthday, I get a phone call. And it was Kevin from Arlene Wilson. He was an agent. And he said, "Hey, you know, my friend was at the bar. He said you modeled and I would love to meet you." I said, "That'd be great, but I'm moving to New York." I'm like, this little
I know
idiot.
God was like, this
girl. You know what I'm saying? Story of my life. Stubborn little Nigerian girl. So girl, the man convinced me because he said we have a new agent. He's a runway agent, and you know, whoever his friend was, like, I guess described me. And so I told him, I said, "Okay, fine, I'll stay."
I guess.
Right. So girl went, they signed me immediately. They signed me immediately. I was booking shows left and right. I did all the shows like Neiman, Saks, Nordstrom, you know, all like every store you could imagine. I was doing like all of their fashion shows, and I was doing print work and all of that. So that was like the beginning of that modeling journey. Right. And I worked a lot in Chicago.
That's one. Did you ever make it to New York?
I did make it to New York, and I ended up because you have these so Chicago, Arlene Wilson was my mother agency, and then you have you know, they can send you off to other places, and then that's your other agency. So I was with Wilhelmina for a bit, and they didn't want to take me at first, and so David, my amazing agent, was like, "Just let her go on this audition," and I got booked. So whatever. Anywho, but story, you know, it's just the odds. We all have them in whatever areas,
of course.
But that was, you know, my modeling journey, which ended up, you know, leading to makeup.
Doing makeup. So when made you start doing makeup?
Yeah. So the way that worked was I had no intentions on being a makeup artist. Never thought about it. Never wanted to be one, because the makeup artist, when I was modeling, would make me look a hot mess. And remember, I told you since I was 6, I knew I was going to model. So I was like, I've already known that I was going to do this, and you're standing in my way because you don't have me looking right.
Right.
And you know, makeup can make you look way better or way worse. You know, so I started just kind of trying to figure out how to tweak what the makeup artist would do. And what was interesting was I got booked for a full spread in this bridal magazine. And it ended up that my agent called me in the middle of it and was like, "Oni, hey, they don't need you the rest of the shoot." And I was like, "Oh, cool, you know, cool, no problem." So when I got back to the agency, they were like saying I was difficult to work with. And it was because the lady did not know how to do my hair. She did not know how to do my makeup. There were just so many things. Like when they say,
They just wanted you to take anything.
they wanted you to take anything. And, you know, they just were not equipped. And I look at things like a team, right? I played sports. I played basketball. I ran track. You know, I'm like, if I'm playing defense, right? Like you expect me to play my position so that you can shoot the ball, right? So like, I'm like, I'm going on this job as a makeup artist. You're supposed to know how to do the makeup.
Hello.
I shouldn't have to know how to do it.
And I mean every shade and any shade that there is.
Right. So interestingly enough, when I got fired from that job, I said never again. I was like, I'm going to learn how to do my makeup and I'm going to learn how to fix it, because the other thing is you sit in a chair and you start telling them the best way that they need to do it. Now you've got you're a black model with an attitude. So I said, I got
instead of just taking that help though, instead of taking what you know about your skin and your face.
That's why I'm very sensitive to people sitting in my chair, because I know what that feels like. But anyway, I just started tweaking and I started teaching myself from a perspective of, if my face looks gray and ashy and I got 5 minutes, what would I do to fix it? Because I can't take it all off and do it over again. That's how I learned how to do makeup. And then I ended up, you know, fast forward, moving to Nashville. I had gotten married, had a family, and a friend of mine, her husband played for the Titans at the time, Tennessee Titans, and she was going to appear on something. And she was like, Oni, can you do my face? And like, you model and everything, you know how you're going to make me look good. So I did. And then she started telling people I do makeup. I was like, girl, I don't do makeup. I don't do makeup. You know what I'm saying? I did yours. But I realized people started kind of asking me. So fast forward, to make a long story short, a friend was like, well, go work at one of the makeup counters. And I was like, the hell? I got a whole degree making a makeup counter? Like, I don't want to work at the mall. I had I was really like, I don't want to work at the mall. So people were talking about makeup so much that I said to myself, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go apply at a makeup counter. And the only reason I'm going to apply at a makeup counter is because I want somebody, not friends, random people, to come up to me and ask me for some sort of makeup help and application. And if I can make them look good and feel good, then I know that this is what I'm supposed to do. And so I cried on the way to the interview. That's how bad, like, I didn't want to do it. But I did for about maybe a year. And it was during that time that I got booked to do CC Winans, my first client. Because my friend, whose face I did, that started telling everybody, CC Winans' assistant saw somebody that I did. And that's how I ended up starting to do makeup. And it snowballed. I did 15 people that first year. I did Whitney Houston that first year, or maybe within a year, definitely. But CC Winans had a show in Nashville at the time called CC's Plays. And I ended up doing, I mean, so many people. You know, like album covers. Like,
so her show would have other folks coming to do the show.
Correct, but she would have makeup artists for like the people guest appearing on the show. I would do just her makeup, and then, but like if a Whitney came on, I would do her makeup and like Whitney's makeup. So if it was somebody of just a little bit more status, you know, in the music industry, I would do that, and that's kind of how I started getting booked. I would do Stellar Awards, I did Dove Awards, I did like Goodwill Games. I was flying with her to do like, you know, she was on the Oprah show, her and BB Winans, Good Morning America. Like this was early on in my career, and I never wanted to be a makeup artist. You know, I did makeup for a long time. I've always been like skeptical of ingredients, just not knowing. So I've always been a bit of a skeptic in that way. You know, people look to me as an expert, so they're asking me what to use. So I could not confidently recommend things. I didn't know how. You know, I would use coconut oil, olive oil on my body to you know, moisturize.
I use the olive oil out the thing.
Yeah. I'll get something specifically that I'm just like, this is mine for my body. I did that with my kids.
Yeah, I do that.
You know, yeah. And so, with that being said, I was like, okay, what do I recommend to people? You know, products have these ingredients in them. More toxic products are marketed to, like, you know, African American community, people of color, and we spend the most on it, and we use the most. And the darker your complexion, or the darker the product that you use on your complexion, have the propensity to have more toxicity in them, more heavy metals. And so I love learning about this because it's all a puzzle for me, right? They're all intertwined with our health and wellness. You know, when you start thinking about certain things, when you're walking in your purpose and seeds are planted, stuff really does start to grow.
It does if you will listen. It does.
If you're obedient.
And you listen to your body. Yes.
And there's another key factor that I I 100% believe in, and I'm living it right now, and it's be still and know that I am God. Because, I listen to a lot of Napoleon Hill, right?
Me too.
And so with that, I'm like, he said, God is not going to be yelling.
No, and you cannot be moving around and hustling and bustling. It comes in the moment when you're still. Now he'll download things when you're moving around, right? And you know that is God. But when he speaks to you and intentionally does, it is you are still.
You have to be still enough to hear a whisper.
Yeah,
you have to quiet things down enough to hear a whisper. Yes. So that is what I have been lately. We have to listen to whatever that is. And it doesn't matter what I think about what you're doing. If you've been given the charge. Another thing, like a couple things. One, you move in this world as if God is inside you and with you. Like move in that manner, like wherever you go. And act as if you've been deployed. Like to me, that was very powerful because, I've not been in the military, but I can imagine that if you have been deployed,
you have something to do.
Period. And you go in focused and you go in on a mission. So when we wake up, it's like we're on a mission, and so since I heard that, I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do today?
Yeah,
like, what is that charge? And kind of be still with it and then get that charge. Trust your gut, like be still enough to trust yourself and discernment. And I've gone through periods where I did not trust myself because say like there was a period of things happening back to back to back based on decisions I had made, then there have been times where I questioned myself, questioned my decisions. Like, should I do this? And there's like a deep, like insecurity, like, should I do this? Or fear of pulling a trigger because every time I pulled, it went the wrong way, for a little while. And it's been in the most recent past that I was like, I'm going to sit with this. I am going to be uncomfortable with being uncomfortable, or I'm going to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Period. I just have to.
Because nothing great has ever come from sitting in comfortability.
Right. Like when we work out.
Yeah, just in anything that we do. Labor, anything that we do. That something is birth of greatness. There's some sort of being uncomfortable before it.
100%. I remember like when I was in labor with my kids, well, specifically my son, my first kid, and I didn't know how to imagine that this was going to come through me. I just could not imagine that. And so, and I didn't have an epidural, I had it natural. And so the doctor came in after about 10 hours, I think, and was like, Oni, you have to push this baby out. We're all here with you, but you got to push this baby out, and are you mad at somebody? Get mad at somebody. And I said, but I'm not mad at anybody. She was like, okay, well, you've got to do this. Because if not, then we're going to have to take the clamps. And next stage of take the clamps and pull the baby's head out. And so I got mad at myself. And I remember just hitting the bed so hard, screaming. The whole hospital heard me practically. And I screamed, and in 2 pushes, he was out. And it just makes me think of whatever it is that has been put inside of us. And we are supposed to execute. That is your calling, your purpose that you have to birth. You have got to dig down deep as far as you can inside yourself and be comfortable with being uncomfortable and push that thing out.
Lord, whatever you have purpose for me to do, give me the will, give me the intention, give me the obedience, give me the discipline to do it because I don't want to disappoint you.
We have to be kind to ourselves when we do start to become more aware because I believe we grow into that. It's like a flower that blooms. So we really do all grow into that. But we have to look inward. It's totally. Have you read the book The Alchemist?
I haven't read it in a long time.
It's been a while. But he went around the world looking for the treasure, and it was inside of him, right? And so he comes back to himself. But the thing is, we do that. We go all out there, but then it's like
it's here.
It's inside. It's so inside of us. And if we really start to think about that, there is no other Liz, T Liz on this planet. There isn't. There's no other. They might have your name. They are not you.
Right.
You are one of a kind. Truly, I am one of a kind. We are each one of a kind.
Right.
And think about when we're purchasing something, a vehicle. And it's one of a kind, a diamond that is rare, one of a kind. The price point on that, the value on that.
That's almost saying it's invaluable.
We each just use our lane, right? For me, it's beauty. You know, it's beauty, it's skincare, it's the whole world I've been in. I've experienced so much in that chair, and I know that I am a conduit to help people like back to themselves, if you will. And so return to themselves, whatever you want to say in that way. But you know, I love putting the mirror, if you will, in front of people because I want people to see the beauty in themselves. Because there's power in that.
There's so much. That's what we need. That's one of the, you know, that's one of the greatest things that we need, to see the power and notice the power, to be able to tap into that power.
They, good and bad superheroes have power. So it's just what you use it for. So if you tap into it, you know, you could be walking around regular person, but based on where you are, like that power, and it might not be to damage somebody else, it could be to damage yourself.
That's what I'm saying. You can use that power that same power to diminish your own value. You can use it to diminish your value or to recognize your value.
Right. And that's very powerful.
So what is a good piece of advice you would tell, if I could say just give someone a good core piece of advice, what would that be? And it could be beauty, it could be life, it could be whatever.
To sum up a little bit of what we said, I'm a really firm believer in knowing that you, the individual, is one of a kind. You're here on purpose. You're special. You know, some people will take that like a superhero, right, and use it to and recognize it and take it and shed light. And some people will use it to their detriment, you know, and perhaps there'll be arrogance and stuff like that. But you could have all the money in the world, you could have all these things, all the notoriety and fame and all of that, and actually change a lot of people's lives because you influence and encourage and all of that. But if you don't realize that you are special, that you are divine, you are loved, you are enough, you are whole, God made you on purpose. If you don't tap into all of that, all those other outside factors will at some point, it's like a hole in the boat, and water will seep in and the boat will sink. That boat being you.
Love you, accept you fully for your flaws, for the part, because, you know, if we don't identify with ourselves, to know ourselves enough to say, okay, well, this is a characteristic trait that I don't really like for myself, to be able to work on that and change that. But we can't do that if we don't sit with ourselves and get personal with ourselves,
and being okay with that. Like, we're not perfect. Like, if there's something, we're not. And if there's something that is a challenge for you that sets you back, it could be in business, it could be in relationships, it could be you know, just your own self-discipline, whatever, to, you know, for your life, like things you want to accomplish, acknowledge it and work on it. And then also be mindful, another like real right behind that, knowing who you are, be mindful with other people. Like, you have to be careful in letting other energy enter your sort of energy field. Look at it like cartoons, however you can picture it. But I'm just telling you,
it's a real thing.
I'm real mindful. I'm real about protecting the energy.
Because people can be like, oh, they say energy, but nobody can tell me they have not been in a room and somebody walked in and change the atmosphere.
Preach. Good or bad.
Yeah.
Good or bad. Yes. But that bad one, you really are like, whoa.
That's energy.
It is. People will project their fears on you and all that kind of thing. And realize, and don't even mean any harm.
And don't know they're doing it. Right? So, because, you know, we have to make sure we're moving through this life to understand that sometimes when people have actions towards you, it's not about you. It's more about them and who they are than it is about you. They can barely know you.
Even people that love you will say some things that, because you're already geared up, like I gotta put my best foot forward, like you're gassing yourself up, you know. So if somebody comes at you, it's not like you got heavy weight on this gas, you know, you lightweight on it, so somebody can come and flick it off. So you got to be careful, you know, because they'll bring those insecurities and those doubts.
They will, and that has to do with them. You just got to maybe work a little harder or whatever it is, but there's nothing in this world that you can't do.
Absolutely. And to me, that's return to self, because there was a time we believed that before life started lifing and chips in the armor came and all of these things, you know what I mean? So to me, like this year, I just had a birthday that passed, and I was like, this is my return to myself, you know, believing I could do anything, because I've always believed that. That 6-year-old self.
If you could speak to her today, she's sitting right here instead of me, what would you say to her?
Hey girl, hey. I'd be like, girl, you knew all along. You knew all along. I am right here with you. I left you for a minute, but I am back here with you. And let's do this. I got you.
No, that's awesome. If you can describe your life thus far in 3 words, what would they be and why?
I love the word magical. Because it's just nothing I have anything to do with in a sense. Yes, I am a vessel, but I love magical. I love my life. You know, some days I have cried a lot, and there's some days I have laughed harder than I can imagine. I've met people along the way that I would not even want to ever experience again. And then I've met people that I would love to take with me to eternity.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the more you bloom, the more you look at like all of it's a part of it. Day and night, rain and sunshine, you know? So I say magical for that. A garden. When I think about a garden and things being planted, particularly things with roots, they're growing in 2 different directions at the same time. You know, so they're growing with roots, and so they're getting grounded, but then they're also, which is all underneath and you can't see, so you know things are happening, and it's grounding you. And then it's also like this beautiful thing that's coming through the ground that you can see. The third word would be a gift. Every day, every moment, good, bad, rain, shine, it's a gift, because I'd rather be experiencing it than the alternative.
I know that's right. Seriously, because I just was talking the other day. My aunt, she had told one of her friends from Jamaica seemingly had committed suicide, and she said, "Death is so final, you don't have nowhere to start from." And it was just like, yes, because once we're still alive and we have our brain, the faculties of our brain and our limbs, clothed with our limbs still working, we can do anything.
Anything. We got another shot.
Yes, as long as we're still breathing and living, and as long as we still have ourselves centered in who we are and who God is and all those other things, it is limitless.
I had not experienced a lot of loss at all until the last few years. And then it was like boom, 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 back to back, just, you know, and people seemingly very young. 30s, 40s, 50s. I'm like,
that's very young.
Nobody's safe.
Yeah. It's amazing that when people die at, say, 50, 30, people say they were so young. But when you're alive, when people are alive at 50 or 60 even, let's say, oh, you're getting old. You know, I'm old. Make it make sense.
I don't understand it, but it's funny that you're even saying that, because I was talking to somebody yesterday about that auntie. And for a little bit, I was like, don't call me auntie.
I don't identify. The people don't call me auntie, but I have a group of friends who like to call themselves auntie. I'm actually an auntie.
Well, I'm not. I don't have no siblings like that.
I've been an auntie since I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
So not even some of them call me auntie.
Right.
So please don't. I'm not. So my family in general, we don't identify, let our age identify us, right? And so when I'm around a group of people and they're like talking about how old they are, and I'm there, how old are you? I don't know. I can't recall. And it's not because I'm ashamed.
Yeah.
It's not because I'm not grateful to still be alive. It's not that any of those things. It just, whenever you tell someone, they automatically put you in this category box. This is 1180 outside the box.
You better come.
So I live that way, period. So it's just like, and then they go through this whole speech. Are you good? You need to love this. I do.
Yeah.
I stopped telling my age when I was 27 years old. 27 to 28 years old. And it's because people put you in a box.
Right.
My daddy, he doesn't tell his age. No, it's just that what does it matter? I'm still me.
Yeah. I just recently but I'm not, like, I recently started talking about my age, but funny enough, it's very recent. But when I modeled, we never talked about our age. You never knew, and it was none of anybody's business. You would never tell me. And I still have, like, there's the stage age and there's regular age. You know, my friend Trey, we always like, which age you want, the stage age or the real age? Which one you want? You know what I mean? But why does it even matter, right? Why does it even matter? But then some people in my age category, let me say that, act so old, and just like life is like knocking at the door around the corner, like that you need to go be picking out your coffin. And I'm like, I don't live like that.
Notice that the people who are about to go pick out their coffins, they use their age as their identity, and they often say, I'm old, I'm getting old.
And I don't
and
do
so
that.
the mouth, the tongue is powerful.
I'm
By
like,
your words, you will be justified.
mm-hmm.
And so,
like, I'm in this group. I don't know if they'll hear this, but I'm in this group with some friends from high school, and they'll be talking about all this old stuff, and I'm like, I never reply to that specific stuff because I'm like, I don't what. You know, and there might be some things that I feel, you know what I mean? But I'm just
but
like,
because of where they're coming from with it,
it's
you
different.
don't-
It's
yeah,
a different
I completely
energy.
get it.
Because I'm like, I don't identify with I'm old.
Yeah, I don't either.
Because I'm not old.
And I'm not.
I might be older than you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a little older than that. Right. But I'm just like, I don't subscribe to that. You know what I mean? I just think it does mentally cripple you.
It does.
Do you? But let me do me.
What's a belief you once had that you no longer had, and what changed that for you?
Well, let me say it like this. What's coming to mind is I used to not believe when people show you who they are, believe them. Now I believe.
Yes.
When people show you who they are, believe them. As much as I don't want to believe that this person is this way, I'm going to have to because they've shown me that. You know, that's for sure. Because if we think about things in nature, a dog is going to bark. A snake is going to bite. A lion is going to roar. So whatever you identify with, however you identify, I mean, your true core, that is who you are. You know, so if somebody is a habitual liar or, you know, whatever that is, I don't have anything specific in mind, but I do know that that is something that I have developed as a core belief. Like, okay, they're going to be who they are, not who I envision them to be.
That's right. I am coming into that recently too. And oftentimes when we don't recognize and we don't, because a lot of times we know, but we push forward anyway. We try to make what we're envisioning it to be. When that person is just who they are.
And it's okay.
Either you accept them for who they are and you roll with the punches, or you know that you need to just leave that whole situation alone, whatever it is.
Right. And I'm going to let
the control go.
Yes.
It's control.
Yeah, that's powerful because it's like just bow down and bow out, you know, because it is what it is. You know, let people be and move on to the next thing. You know,
that is the hardest part is not letting it shift your energy because it's not what you wanted it to be. That's that level of, because we all have it in us, that control, that wanting it to be a way and trying to make it that way, and then have a whole attitude because you can't make it that way.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, and it's funny, like when I remember this even more recent, I was praying about something, you know, and it is true when you are having conversations with God and you're like, you know what, I want you to remove anything from my life that does not serve my greatest and highest purpose. Even if I look at something and I want something, you know, whether it be a relationship, whether it be a business arrangement, whatever it is, if it is not to serve my greatest and highest purpose, if it is not for my benefit, remove it. And when a phone stops ringing in a way that it used to ring, and you want to have an attitude like, whoa, like this is uncomfortable, because you can get familiar with business arrangements, relationships, friendships, and it goes in a different direction. And it could be for now in this season, or it could be forever. And there's a girl here, and I have to give her a shout out, Leslie. What she does is has you tap into yourself and what's potentially blocking you. And inquiry meditation is what she calls it, inquiry meditation. And so she has this whole process of how to help you work through that blockage. When I say immediately, I was like,
and that's Leslie who's here.
Who's here. I'll connect you.
I think that's what a lot of us need to do, and what therapy helps with is to sift through all the walls and the blockages and which we build up and what we suppressed and pushed down, and sift through all of that to get to the core of us.
Yeah. Because we don't know, there's a lot of trauma. People, you know, we all have a lot. There's no manual, and
there is no manual
dealing with all these different things. And it's let's help each other get to the core of ourselves.
And that's, I think, a reason, and that's the reason why we are here to serve, to serve each other. You know, it's nothing that we do is really about us. Correct. It always is about who and what we can impact.
It's interesting as you start experiencing more things in life. You're like, that's what they were talking about.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying we blossom. Like that's what, like one of the words, like a garden, like we literally bloom and we blossom into these beautiful flowers if we go through the process.
And sometimes change for the season. Sometimes we'll go dormant. And then our spring comes back around.
Come on.
And we're beautiful flowers again.
Come on. And it is springtime for me, honey.
What are your core values? What's the thing that drives you?
I'm a little bit like mushy with it, but like love, honestly. I love love. I love kindness, integrity. Yeah, I love that. I love integrity. I love when people are kind to people. Now, you know, I'm not a killer, but don't push me.
No, seriously, yeah. You know, but a little bit of kindness goes a long way.
It does, and it doesn't, you know,
even a smile.
A smile, it doesn't cost anything. So I am that person, right? Unless, you know, now I will block my energy also. So there might be some people, it's probably rare because I'm more of a smiler and talker and social than I am not. But I'm also one to kind of be to myself, you know. Sometimes, like, I love people. I don't like everybody, but I love people, and I don't mean any harm.
I do. I love people too. You know, I used to say I don't like people, but I love people, and I love to be around people, but I also do not mind.
Yeah, and I like to be around great energy, and that doesn't mean
fun energy.
Yeah, and just positive, grateful. Gratitude is another core value of mine. So, you know, I like to be around people that are grateful. It doesn't mean life is perfect, but you operate out of gratitude.
Naming what you're grateful for and the things that are going good in your life. You could talk all day.
It's energetic, and it's like, you know, being a Girl Scout and being out there and trying to, you know, rub two sticks together and create fire, and eventually a spark happens. And so that gratitude and naming all those things is like rubbing those sticks together. Like it really, really does help. It doesn't mean that things, like you said, are perfect all the time, but it does help to elevate the energy a bit.
It does. That now that's still in your now, but also in your now, right? Because all we have is now. We only have yesterday. We don't have tomorrow. We have right now.
We have right now.
But the now is still the now, even with the thing that is making you cry or whatever it is. But that now also still has all the great things. You know?
And the one thing with that too, because I've had to work on this a bit because I was not good at it, but really honoring my feelings, acknowledging my feelings, allowing myself to be human and being okay. And in that moment or those moments, being around people that, or not, so either being by myself or if I decide to be around people, being around people that allow me to be.
Right.
That's very important. And I still have to work on that because I'm a master at suppressing how I feel. So you could ask me how I feel and I might not know because when I modeled, it does not matter how you feel.
Right.
And I remember there were times I'd be like, I was married at the time, you know, and I might get into an argument. And if I cry, you can see that I was crying. My eyes get puffy. So I became a master. This was my business. You are not going to know whether I laughed, cried, or whatever before I came here. When I come, I am going to be on and I am going to perform like I have to perform in front of this camera, right? That's how I make my money. And so you become so good at that when it comes time to feel, you don't know what that even feels like.
Wow.
And so I've had to unlearn that behavior and it was uncomfortable. That's why I'm saying, like, in this last bit here, some years, but like a couple years, this is practice, you know, like working out a muscle, but learning how to identify what I even feel and that it's okay. And don't let somebody make you feel bad for feeling a certain way or.
Right. And don't make yourself feel bad for feeling a certain way. How we learn how to regulate and control our emotions is recognizing them. And for some, it's talking ourselves off ledges.
And it's true. And then one of the things with that is like when we want or feel the need to get a response from whatever it is, we want to be seen, we want to be acknowledged. And so that's where, for me, now what I do because of Leslie, I go back to that little girl inside and I'm like, I see you. Like connect and just go back to we can do whatever we want, like it's all good. Because at some point before all of the sludge, you saw yourself. And so I feel like it's important for us to tap back into whatever and if say you didn't feel seen, that's okay too. Be like, you know what, I don't feel seen, and
validated any of those things.
And it's okay to feel that. Let me sit with that for a minute. Whatever it is, and take your moment, take your time to regroup, recharge, recalibrate, so that you can then
move on with life and be okay with it.
And be okay
with where I am and everything that is involved with that.
You know, if you really acknowledge how you feel when it does not feel good, you are empowering yourself
and just honoring your feelings because you're entitled, you're allowed to feel. That's what we're designed to do. We're not emotionless beings.
Correct.
It's just learning how to regulate those
how to
emotions.
regulate, because some people go to the left
all the way.
Yeah, all the way to the left. And then if people are feeling things that they don't feel safe with themselves and need to get help, do that too. If you need to talk to somebody, a therapist, if you need medication, who cares? Don't worry about nobody else. Do you, boo, do what you got to do.
Because they're going to talk about you anyway. They're going to have something to say anyway. So what people think really don't matter.
It does not matter. Just worry about yourself.
So much about just like tapping in personally and recognizing who you are and everything there is about you so that you can be the best human.
Yeah. And that's like my goal in life is to like be the best version of myself and then help other people be the best version of themselves, And I think about that in a positive way, because maybe there's some people that where they are is a better version than where they were, but it's still not the
best it could be.
Yeah.
Because even when we feel like, even when we're better than yesterday, we're still not the best that we could be. I mean, it's...
Well, I really want to get there, though. Like, whatever that feels like.
When I'm 105, I might be the best that I can.
Yeah.
As long as I'm still moving around.
Girl, that's the game
and not
plan.
bedridden. I'm going to be 105 and see my great-grandchildren.
I don't know, that's right.
Yeah.
I definitely am going to be in 3 digits. I hadn't decided on a number beyond the 3 digits, but
you might be 117.
Well, that's so funny. That number was in my head, but I like the number 8, so I was saying 108 is what I was saying, because you said 105, and I'm a little competitive, not in a bad way, but it's like, okay, girl, what are we gonna do? You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, come on, let's do it then. 108, 105, what are we doing?
Let's
you know what I mean? I mean, I'm not gonna let you say 105 and I say 104. It's going to at least be 105 and up.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Girl, by the water. Like my business working itself, minding itself. Of course, I'm your beauty CEO. So my beauty brand to be a definite $1 billion business.
Yes, Oni Beauty.
To be a $1 billion business. And, I definitely, there's certain things like having my own show, having my own brand. But I want to have that global reach, but I also want to have freedom to be and to live. And I'll be running the brands, based on beauty, based on health and wellness.
There'll be different sectors.
So yeah, I'm working on that infrastructure now. Entrepreneurship is not for the faint of heart.
It is definitely not all glitz and glam.
And this all I've ever known. So this is what it is. It's just this season of, restructuring, redefining, reclaiming, returning, all of that.
Returning to self. I think that's going to be my takeaway from today is returning to self. Because what we always do is return to self. To the core of who we are.
To the core of who we are. And it's like, gosh, how did I get so far from self? But I think it's all a part of it, because we're getting to know self. You don't just, there's a book that I read by Penny Pierce called Frequency. And she said, we're all here becoming ourselves. Like a tadpole into a frog, a caterpillar into a butterfly,
Constantly
little
becoming.
Liz into big Liz, like Oni into Onyekachi, like we're becoming ourselves,
right.
truly. So the return to self is a major, I think, anchor.
Yeah.
For all of our lives.
I'm going to give you 3 words.
Okay.
And you're going to pick one, and you're going to expound on it.
Okay.
Longevity, accomplishment, and turmoil.
So longevity, when I think about that word, it makes me think about resilience and tenacity and character, trust, livelihood, life, wisdom, all the things. Because in order to have longevity, you have to, in whatever, it could be life, it could be business, it could be friendship, it could be a marriage, it could be a relationship, it could be anything. But longevity makes me think about experience. My father's last words were, be focused, determined, hardworking, and trustworthy. But before that, he said, I implore that God guide and guard you in everything you do. Be focused, determined, hardworking, and trustworthy, and God will see you through in this life. And of course, he said that for me and my children. I said, for my dad to say in his last will and testament to me, to implore God to guide and guard me in everything I do. Everything I do, I take every word very seriously. I was like, he didn't pray for me to have all this money, and I went to some of the best schools. My dad was like, you go to whatever school you pay for, I'm paying college tuition, whatever. Like we traveled all over. He didn't pray all those things for me. He knew I was going to do those things. But what I would need as the secret sauce with all of that for longevity is that God guide and guard me in everything I do, and for me to be focused, determined, hardworking, and trustworthy.
What's your message to the world, Oni?
Love yourself. Love yourself. Be good to yourself. Be good to yourself.
Dare to be good to yourself.
Dare to be good to yourself. Because everybody, dare. I threw that word in there because it's like, it takes a lot sometimes.
It does.
In this world right now, be good to yourself. What does that mean? Define it. Figure out what that is for you.
Thank you, Oni.
You're welcome.
This was wonderful. Thank you for coming to 1188 Outside the Box. Did you feel comfortable?
I did. It felt great.
Yeah, you take some things from you today and infuse it into your future.
Absolutely. It felt good to be outside the box. And what's 1188?
That is my mama's house. That's the house I grew up in.
Oh.
And that's the house actually she passed away in.
Okay.
She bought that house quite a while ago, and so that was her. I grew up at 1188 Northwest 45th Terrace. So 1188.
Oh, that's right. I love it. I was like, let me ask her what 1188 is.
So I'm signing out. Until next time, Oni, thank you.
Thank you, T-Liz.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 1188 Outside the Box podcast. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you took away some aha moments to help you on your growth journey. Remember to like, share, and subscribe on YouTube. Also follow us on Instagram at 1188 Outside the Box podcast. Until next time, remember that growth ain't optional, y'all. It is a lifestyle.